Hey there guys, so we are going to look at the very cool new LTX video generation, and it is so fast it's going to blow your mind. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Cog Studio, all this stuff take me 10-15 minutes to make a video. Guys, you can make high quality videos here in under a minute, okay? Like 20-30 seconds sometimes. So very good, incredible technology. This is the best thing that we have seen come across open source. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to walk through getting this installed. You can see the quality of videos. I'm going to show you the tips to make sure that you can recreate these things, because you can recreate these things. All right. And we're going to go through 3 different install versions of this. Of course, we're going to have a Patreon version where we're going to be able to just use our VideoGenPack that comes along with animated diff. It comes with Moki, all this other, the Flux models, all that, or a straight ComfyUI install. But we're also just going to go through how to manually install this into ComfyUI, which is great. And it's not going to take very long. And guys, this... I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is incredible software that has come out. So every day something new is coming out. This is the new awesome. So you're going to want to watch this video, and we will go through that. But first, do like the channel, subscribe to it. Hey, you think about what to get me for Christmas? Bundle up a little package of telling your friends about Get Going Fast and get them involved. In fact, actually over on the Patreon page, you can get them a membership for a gift too, because it's always funner to do AI with a friend, right? Because then you're just bouncing off each other. It's good to share that stuff. And come over to our Discord, because we spend a lot of time just sitting there working on different projects and talking with each other. But I certainly do appreciate everything you do to help promote this channel and let everyone know what's going on with the AI world, because it is so exciting. Okay, with all that said, we're going to move on here and get to installing LTX video, yo! All right, well, let's get going with this. So, first thing we're going to do, we're going to walk through 3 steps. Like I said, I'm going to show you how to install this with your already installed VideoGenPack, okay, which you can get on the Patreon site. I'm going to show you how to pre-install it with your already, just quick install it, get going fast, install it in your ComfyUI, and then we're going to go through how to manually install this stuff from the page. It's not that difficult, but it does take a little time to download these models. Okay, these are big models and they don't have a ton of bandwidth. Okay, so essentially the people that make them, they have to pay for you to be able to download them, which is very gracious of them, right? But they don't always give you the fastest speeds in the whole darn world. So what we're going to do is, first we just got to get over to our Patreon site, and you're just going to go to patreon.com/cognibuild, okay? And it's going to bring you over to this page. Now, you can click up here under collections, and then just click member exclusive software, okay? So that's going to go ahead and bring it down, and you're going to see this LTX fast video generation script. Whoops, darn it. With, look what I did there. With this little demo thing here of videos that have been made through this. Okay, anyway, so you can read through that, and we're going to have 2 installs. So here is the one. If you only need one of these, depending on what you have. If you're already running the VideoGenPack, or you just want to get it going, which I really suggest, because with this you get the animated diff, you get the stable video diffusion, you get the Flux models, you get everything, okay? If you just want to grab that, you can click here and you download it, okay? If you just have a ComfyUI install, you don't want to deal with SwarmUI, grab this one. But let's go ahead and say that we have grabbed the one for SwarmUI. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop over here to our File Explorer, and we're going to see that we have downloaded it here. Okay, so now mine's already there, but what you're going to do is just click on it, and you're going to extract it, and you're going to get these 3 files. Okay, so if I did it, it would just say that they already exist. I click yes to all, and they pop out. Now, If you don't have SwarmUI installed, if you're installing the VideoGenPack for the very first time, okay, then what you would do is you would click on the install SwarmUI windows.bat, okay, and that's going to actually install your framework, okay. And SwarmUI is really great. I really do suggest this. Very good. And it carries its own ComfyUI installation, just kind of buried down deep in there. If you see, this is the main folder, and it has its own models, but then if you click on DL backend, you get into your Comfy installation here. Okay, so this is exactly the same as another Comfy installation, just inside of SwarmUI. Okay, so if you haven't done it, you run this, go through that. Okay, then when it's done, you go ahead and you would click this Install VideoGenPack. Okay, now what that's going to look like is like this. Let me go ahead and pop over here so you can see what that looks like. And this is going to pop up this bad boy. Okay, so you go through this. 7-zip is used later on if with some green screen stuff that you download, okay? But you don't need to get it if you don't want it. So the main point, though, is if you already have SwarmUI, you can just click no on this stuff, okay? So do you want to download the Flex models? We'll just say no, because let's assume we've already got all this installed. We don't want Schnell. We don't need Moki. And here's where we're going to click, do you want to install LTX video? Okay, now I'm not going to go ahead and click yes because it'll start to download these large models again, which I don't need to sit through, but you're going to click yes, okay, and then it's going to start the download process. It's going to create the folders that it needs for it. It's going to download the repository. It's going to do everything that we do in the manual thing, but it's going to do it for you. And it's going to start the downloading of the actual video models. And they're big. They take a long time. So expect to sit for 30, 45 minutes for these things, maybe longer to download, really dependent on your internet speed. Okay, so they are big videos. We're talking like 40 gigabytes, you know, for this stuff. So probably at the end of it, maybe 50 to 60. It's a large install. But anyway, see, we just click yes, and it's going to go through all of it. I'm going to go ahead and click no here, because we'll just assume, let's pretend that I pressed yes. Okay, I'm pretending. See here, I'm pretending. I pressed yes. Okay, I went through it. And then it's just going to come out here. Do you want to download all models? Now, I should probably label this a little bit better, but you don't need this, okay? This is for animated diff. If you already have animated diff installed, you don't need to do this. If you don't want animated diff, you don't need this, okay? So the rest of this stuff, you can just go ahead and just click no to. And notice it does notice that I already have it, so it's asking if I want to re-download it. Just go, no, 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 no. And then it's done. Okay? Really easy installation there. So, really easy installation. So, then you've got your VideoGenPack going. And again, we're assuming that you already had it installed there, but this would be if you didn't. I mean, if you didn't, you go through the number one. If you already did it, you just got to do what we just did. Okay, let's go back over to our File Explorer, and let's see how we would do this in a normal Comfy installation. So let's say I've got my ComfyUI here, and I go in here, and here's your normal run in video. This is how you run it. Well, you would just download that file from the Patreon site. Okay, that's this one over here, the LTX Comfy. And what you would do is you would just download it into your main Comfy folder. In the same folder that says this, you would do it. And all you got to do is click it. Okay, now again, I'm not going to click it because I don't want to re-download everything. But you click it, and then it'll start the download. It gets everything going, and then when you're done, all you got to do is click the run in video or whatever. Okay, and then it's going to load up. It's going to look like this. It's going to load up your ComfyUI. Let's see where we're at here, and there you go. And then now I'm going to show you, I've got workflows. Once you get the workflow loaded, you're going to be able to, this is where you're going to put your prompts over here, okay, and then you're going to be able to create videos. I made this video in about 20 seconds, okay, so obviously there's some errors with it, but the beautiful thing is it goes so fast, you could make multiple of these, okay, and we're going to go over that. But first thing that we need to do is we need to load up the workflows on showing what to do. So let's go back over to our File Explorer, and what you're going to see is that with your downloads, let's go over to our SwarmUI here, you're going to get a folder that's called Workflows, okay? And inside that Workflows, you're going to have these 3 files: text image to video, text to vid, and vid to vid. So this software works really good on all these things, okay? So that creepy photo that we did over here, let's see here, let's look at some of these. Look at that. This is actually an image to video. So we created this probably with this Stable Diffusion XL or something like that, and then we threw it in there to the image to vid, and it made that. So that's actually image to video. I think this is going to be a similar image to video, but then this is text to video. Okay, so that's really good. This is also text to video. So all this stuff is great, and then you can use your video. I don't know that I have a video to video example here, but it will extend your video for you. Okay, so at any rate, what we're going to do is we're going to pop on over to our Comfy workflow, and regardless if you're using SwarmUI or if you're using just the straight Comfy, it's all going to look the same. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to notice, first of all, that they've changed the ComfyUI layout. So there used to be a big box over here on the right side. That's gone now. They've kind of put everything here. So what we're going to do, when you first load up, it's going to have the default, which I think is going to look like this. See if I can find that. Okay, well, anyways, you're going to go over here and we're going to click on open. Okay, and it's going to do this. Let me show you full screen here. Okay, and so it's going to open up this, and then you're just going to go into your workflows and you're going to grab the one that you want. So we would grab our first to start out our text to video. Okay, and then it pops up this, and it's going to start with a default over here, a group of colorful hot air balloons taking off at dawn. This isn't that impressive of a thing, but it's a good place to start. So we'll just press Control Enter. Oh, okay. If you get an error like that, notice it said that something was wrong with your pixel art here, and then this is highlighted red. Go click the arrow. Sometimes when these things copy over, they get just a little bit different, like there's a space in the name. So just click it over to the one that exists, and then do it again, and it will work. Okay. So now we'll sit here for just a second while this does its thing. And you're going to see how fast this goes. So all of the time that we're taking right now is just loading the model, so it won't even take that long the next time you run it. Then over here is where you're going to see the work getting done. Look at how fast that green is moving. Okay, and this is at a width of 768 by 512. That's not a small task. That's a fairly high resolution image that it's making. Okay, and there we have our image. So we could right click on it, go to Open Preview, and there it's created our image. Okay, so that's only 2 seconds, but still, that's really impressive. If you wanted it to go longer, what you would do is you would change your frame number and your frame rate. So it's making 65 frames, and it's going 25 frames per second. So you know how many times can 25 fit into 65? Well, about 2.5 times. So it's making about a 2 to 2.5 second video. If you wanted to up this, you could up it up to like 169. Now, the key here, though, is, let me see if it shows it again. It must be equal, you'll see on here, it says must be equal to n times 8 plus 1. In other words, whatever frame number you put in there, you need to first subtract 1 from it, and then it has to be divisible by 8. So like, if you wanted 8 frames, you would have to put 9 there, because it's something, so it would be 8 times 1, okay, plus 1. Equals 9. So if you took the 9 and you subtracted 1, you'd have 8, and then that, of course, is divisible by itself. If you wanted 16 frames, which is, you would add plus 1, that would be 17. Again, working it backwards, you take 17 minus 1 is 16, and 16 divided by 8 is a whole number, it's 2. So whatever number you put in here has to be a number that's multiplied by 8 plus 1. So we could put in here 161, okay, because 8 times 20 is 160, okay? So then we would add 1 for the 161. Then we could change our frame rate, okay? Let's say we change this to 20, okay? Well, how many times does 20 fit into 160? Let's count it. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60. So you would be making an 8-second video, okay? So the number of frames that you make divided by the frame rate is the length of the thing. So we could just press Control Enter again. Notice it doesn't have to load all that, and it's going to go over here and look at again how fast this is moving. So we just like I think it was only 60, so we just almost tripled the amount of images that are being made, and it's still running this fast. So how a video works is it makes a bunch of single images, like slice, 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 and then it just puts it together like a flip book, right? I got a little book and I draw a little stick figure of the guy, and in each page his hand moves a little bit, and then when I flip it fast, you see the animation. So it's doing the same thing, and look how fast it's doing it. Okay, now if we go preview this, look at it, made us, okay, so it made a 6-second video on this one. That's pretty nice, okay? That's really good. And then, of course, you could extend this further using your video to video. But I'm going to tell you, the majority of advertisements, go do it sometime. Sit and watch an advertisement, and what you're going to find is that an advertisement on TV is typically a 4-second video followed by subsequent other 4-second videos. So, guys, this actually is, I don't know, I'd call it quite production level, but on a base level of what we're doing here for the stuff we're doing for your hustle, you can make good commercials with this, because you can easily make a 4-second video followed by a 4-second video followed by a 4-second video to eventually stretch it out to a 30-second commercial. Yo, that is really good stuff. Okay, so this is how you get through there. You go ahead and load your workflows. Okay, you press open. You can do the same thing. If we go over here to, let's see here, we go over here and we click our workflow and then open. We can do the same thing with the image to video. Okay, so you pop it up here, and then you can choose your file to upload. So let's see here. We can go over here and let's grab, I don't know, what do we got that's interesting here? Problem is going to be captioning this stuff, but let's go ahead and throw that in there, and then let's change this. Well, I don't want to do this. We'll come back to this, but the same idea. You'd throw an image in here, and then you'd give it a thing, and then you'd give it your width, your height, your number of frames, and then it's going to combine it out here. We'll come back to this, okay, because I'm going to want to show you some tips that we need to do on prompting. So again, make sure you wait till the end of the video, because we're going to talk some prompting tips. Right now what we want to do is get into our third way of installing, which is the manual install. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install it manually. We're going to use the SwarmUI installation, because it's the same thing as with the Comfy, just that you have to drill into this back end and then into this Comfy folder. So if you've got Comfy installed, this is the exact same thing. So we're going to follow from here, and we're going to go through the manual. So here's what we do. All right, we're going to click on over to our browser, okay? And this is the one we're looking for, LTX LTX video. So what we'll do is let's do a Google search for LTX GitHubius. That's the Roman name for it. So we're going to find this one, LTX LTX video. Now, we're going to end up installing this ComfyUI one, but let's go here first, because this one's not always going to pop up and you might get lost looking for it. So let's just click on over to here. It's going to take us to the main repository. Now, down here you can see these videos, and we're going to need to come back to these because there's actually some key stuff here. A little hint here, these things appears to be real life footage is going to become important. So that line is going to become important. But anyway, we're going to click through this, and you're going to see there's an installation for running locally. don't do it, okay? It's a trap, right? I spent quite a bit of time creating an installation for local, and it just does not run fast. It's slow. It just doesn't work as good as the ComfyUI. So maybe I can play around with this to get this going, but I'm telling you, you're talking 20 to 30 seconds with ComfyUI, and you're talking 10 minutes using the installation here. I don't know why. Okay, probably because ComfyUI is already configured got some dependencies that are fast. This doesn't have. So we're not going to do it this way. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll back up, and we're going to go into this one that says ComfyUI integration. So we're going to click it. Okay, now it's going to bring us over to here. Okay, this is going to become important. We'll come back later, this user guide. But we're going to scroll up here. Oh, we're going to, actually, it's going to take us here. Then we're going to click here. That's what we're going to do. Then it's going to take us over to this page, the ComfyUI LTX video. Okay, this is not that difficult. Okay, so we're just going to walk through it. Obviously, you have to have ComfyUI installed. If you get it installed through your SwarmUI or you do it manually, whatever. Okay, so if you want to get it done with the SwarmUI, you can grab the VideoGenPack, or you can just, do a SwarmUI GitHub and, download. You can go over here, download the model, installing on Windows. Okay, same thing if you want to install ComfyUI. Just do a search for it, grab this one, Comfy Anonymous, and same thing, installing it, click it, get the downloader. Okay, but let's just assume that we've got all of that done. Okay, so you'll see next thing we're going to do is we're going to clone it to the custom nodes folder. I'll show you. We'll walk through all of this. And then it says install the required packages. This part's going to be a little bit not difficult, but confusing. We're going to skip this because notice it's going to say for portable Comfy installations. In other words, what it's done is it's packaged our Python in with it. And so we're going to need to use a very particular Python. We're not going to create our own virtual environment. We're going to use a virtual environment that's already been packaged with the Comfy installation. So just giving you a heads up, we're going to skip this. We're going to go over to here. Then we're going to have to go download our models, put it in the correct folders. Again, whether you use the SwarmUI or ComfyUI, the folder directory the file structure is going to stay the same. Okay? So then we're just going to go through this, and then we're going to just manually create the workflows. So let's go ahead and get going on doing this. Okay, so we're going to pop over here to our File Explorer. And again, now if you have Swarm installed, you're just going to click into your Swarm folder, go your DLB backend into your Comfy. Okay, this is going to be our base directory where we're going to start from. If you're just running Comfy, this is literally where you're going to be at. Okay, it's the same place that you started from. Okay, so let's go over here and see what the instructions say. So the instructions say we need to go into the custom nodes folder and clone this repository. Okay, so that means we're going to grab all these files. To do that, we're going to click up here and we're going to click this code box, okay? And we can just click HTTPS and we're just going to copy it. Copy URL to the clipboard. All right, now we're going to go over here and let's go over to our File Explorer. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to click into the ComfyUI folder, and then you're going to see it says custom nodes. Okay, so you can see it's not installed here, so we're going to install it. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like this. Let me show you. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to go open in terminal. So that's going to give us the command line terminal that we need to do our work. Okay. And we're in the correct directory. So now to clone this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type git, I'm going to type clone. All right. Then I'm just going to paste in that URL. So git is a version managing software. So it's a way of keeping track of the files that you've created for any particular app and different, like here was the code yesterday, here's what the code looks like today, so on and so All right, so by using the term get, we're actually calling the app. We're saying run this app is called get. And what do we want it to do? We want it to clone a repository. So we're using clone, and then we have to tell it where to get it. Now, remember, we're in the custom nodes folder, okay? So it's just going to download stuff. I'm going to hit enter. You're going to see it downloads. Now, if I type dir, you're going to see it created a folder called ComfyUI LTX video. So let's go back to our directions, and let's see what it says. So we have gone ahead, we've cloned it. Now it wants us to install the required packages. Notice it's got a requirements.txt file. If we go back over to here, not over there, wrong screen. If we go back to here, okay, and we go into this folder, I'm going to type cd ComfyUI-LTX video. If I type dir, you're going to see that there is a requirements.txt file. Now, if you just want to see that file really quickly, you can use the word type, okay, and what that does is it outputs a file, and so all it's got is one line in there, okay? So, anyway, it's going, so in other words, it's going here to get the installation stuff that it needs. All right, let's go ahead and go back to our directions over here. And now we need to install it. Now remember, we're not going to use this one because we're using a portable Comfy installation. The main thing being that we need to make sure that it's installed into the virtual environment. And with this one, the virtual environment comes packaged with ComfyUI. We don't have to create our own, but we do have to access it. So we can look at this and see that it's in a folder that's called Python embedded, and then we're going to be calling the Python command. So we need to go find this folder, but hold on, yo. Notice there's a dot here. That dot means it's one folder outside of Python embedded. So there's a folder called Python embedded, but we're going to start outside of the folder, and then we're going to go inside it. And the reason is going to be here, because we're going to go inside of it, then we're going to pop back out and then go into this folder. So it might sound a little confusing, I know, but let's just go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to walk you through it. Let's go back to our File Explorer, okay? Now we're in our Comfy installation here, okay? Let me make sure you can see all this. Yeah, okay. So we're in our Comfy installation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and go back to where we were, okay? I think it's this. No, it's this one. Okay, so here where that run NVIDIA GPU. So there's our Python embedded. If we click into that, you're going to see there's a Python command in here. Okay, so what this does is, if you remember, on your system, you have Python installed. And so normally if you type Python, it's going to go to your environmental variables, and it's going to go, oh, well, he installed Python on the system, and so it's over here, yo. Okay, well, what we want to do is use a very particular Python, the one that was packaged with this, because we want it to use its own virtual environment. So by going into this folder and actually using the Python that's in it, okay, what's going to happen is it's going to say, oh, well, forget the system Python, let's use this one, and then we'll go ahead and it's going to put it all into here. Let's go ahead and use the virtual environments packaged here. Okay, so in other words, don't use the main one, use this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get back out of here to where our Python embedded is. Now I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to go back to the desktop view here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to say open in terminal. Okay, now same thing. Notice it opened us in this folder. If I type dir, which stands for directory, you're going to see that we have our Python embedded. That's where our Python command is, but we don't want to go in there because the directions we have here, this dot tells us that we're starting outside of that folder. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control V. So the dot basically says start in this folder, then go to this folder, Then inside of that folder, run this command, python.exe. Then it has this -m, which is a parameter that says, I want you to run something as a module. So I want Python to take another, because we could run pip install by itself, but we're saying instead of running pip by itself, we want to run Python, and we want Python to run the pip application within its own world. So we do that -m, and we type pip, and then what do we want pip to do? We want it to install. And then we push -r, which means we want it to install something from a file. Okay? Now, this is where it gets a little confusing. So now we have to give it the directions. So normally when we do this kind of stuff, we do something, pip install -r requirements.txt, because we're running it from the same folder. But in this instance, the requirements folder we want, remember, is all the way back in that ComfyUI LTX video folder that we created. So we've gone through here. We said go into the Python embedded, grab this python.exe, run the pip install, and we're going to read from a file. But now the file is starting from the location we're in, which is the Comfy folder. Go to the ComfyUI directory, which is right there. See, these guys are kind of brother folders, all right? Then inside of there, go to the next folder, which is custom nodes. That was the folder that we get cloned into. Go into the folder that we grabbed, and then install from the requirements.txt. Okay, so it looks confusing. It's not that confusing. So we're going to hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and do this. Okay, now normally we have to be very careful that that we're not installing outside of a virtual environment, because we can pollute our systems, right? Like you have your base system, and you don't want to install stuff that you don't want in your base system. In fact, I just had to reset my system recently because I just had too much stuff that had bled into my other environment. So then I'm getting conflicts, things aren't working. Again, the virtual environment is the idea of you're painting on a desk, and I don't want to get paint on the desk, so I put a sheet over it. Okay, and then if I spill paint or whatever, it doesn't get on the desk, it just gets in the virtual environment. Okay, someone else likened it to a picnic. You put a sheet on the ground, then you put your plates with your food on the sheet, and that also keeps the dirt from the ground getting into your food, keeps the ants and the bugs and all that kind of stuff away. So, but whichever direction you want to look at it, it's keeping things separate. All right. And then again, with what we just did here, is we're using a virtual environment that was pre-packaged. Okay, now mine got through because it was already installed. Now this might take you 5-10 minutes to install stuff. Sometimes it has to download stuff, whatever. The beautiful thing is once you get this stuff installed, she's there. Next time you do it, it's going to just say that it's just getting it from cache. Okay, so let's go back to our browser, and we can see that we've done this part. Now what we got to do is we've got to get the models. So we're going to have to download this model from Hugging Face and place it under the models checkpoint folder. So let's get back to our desktop view here. All right. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and right click on this and go open link in new tab. Okay, so we're going to look for this folder, this one here. And you're going to see this file started with get LFS. That means large files. So it's too big. In other words, it's I think this is like 20 gigabytes. It's large. So you're going to go ahead and you can click download like this. Okay? It's going to pop up this bad boy. Notice it's got the name. So then all we got to do is we just have to find where we have our installation. So mine's under staging. I think it's under LTX. Here. Okay, so then if you're using your SwarmUI, same thing, get your SwarmUI, go to your back end, get into your Comfy folder. Okay, now if you're in your Comfy folder, this is where you'll start as well. We click into here. Okay, we're going to click into our models. There should be a folder that says models, and then one called checkpoints. Okay, so all you got to do then is click save. All right, and then you'll see it's going to start downloading. So that's an 8.7 gigabyte model. So you can see it's taking a while. The bandwidth is not that great, so it can take a bit of time. You see here we place it under Here, another way that we could have done that if we wanted is we could have gone back to our command prompt. Okay, this is a little bit of an expert way of doing it. And we could have changed directory into there. We could go CD, which stands for change directory, ComfyUI. Then we could have gone CD models, CD checkpoints. Okay, and so you can see it's starting to download here. Well, what we could do is we could use a curl command. We could go curl -L. That -L means to follow links. So like if you, sometimes you click on a download and it takes you to another place, and then so it says just follow it all and get down to the download. Then you push -O, which means output. And what we would do at this point is grab the name of the thing. Okay, so we would say, we're going to call it this. Okay, I'm going to change it just so that it doesn't interfere with the other thing. Let's just call it, say, tensored. That obviously wouldn't work, but I'm just doing it for the sake of this. So we'd give it a name. Okay, that's the -O. Okay, then we would go and do the same thing we did before. We'd click this, get over to here, and then now instead of just left-clicking this to download it, we would right-click it, go copy link address. Okay, oops, and then we'd go back to here. Let's get rid of this. And we would just paste it in. Okay, so we're telling it to curl download, follow any links that needs to go through, output it as this. I mean, I could name it whatever. I could name it my file or whatever. And it's going to say from here. And then you would click that and you'd notice it would start to download. Okay, so this is really good when you're creating bat files or scripts and you need to do stuff automatically. You use the curl command. For the sake of this, we just went ahead and clicked the straight download. Okay, so now, having said that, let's move to the next part of our instructions. So that is downloading. Now it says to install Git LFS. All right, so the reason for that is because we're going to download, this is actually a 40 gigabyte thing here. The reason for this is because it's so large, and sometimes when you're Git cloning a repository that is really big, there can be errors, and this will actually make up for it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so there's a few different ways that we can install Git LFS. Okay, one is we can just click on this and it will take us over to this site, and we can navigate to gitlfs.com. And we can just download it like this. Probably the easiest way. You download it and then run the app, and it will go in there. So this is different than Git. It works in tandem with Git. So you can do that. Another way we could do this is pop over to our GPT, and we just type in how to pip or winget a Git LFS. So notice down here it's given us a winget version. Winget's nice because it's a package installer for Windows. It always makes sure you get the right version. If it doesn't have the right one, she ain't going to work. Okay, so what we could do is click on over to our command prompt, and what we would do is we would just paste it in there. Winget install -id git LFS. So in other words, it's saying go to this repository called Git and look for the file that's called Git LFS. So then if you go ahead and press enter, it'll do this thing, and then it'll go ahead and install. Okay, very cool. Winget's great. Again, you can go ahead and do it. So, okay, actually, look at this, said no package found. That's not good. So let's go ahead, go back to our browser. Let's throw that in there and tell it that it got that. See, GPT sometimes messes up. Oh, here we go. This is what we want. We've already got Git installed, so we want to grab Git LFS install. So let's go back to our command prompt. See, and let's type that in there. Okay, there we go. So we called Git and we said we want to install LFS. Okay, that was easier. Forget the winget stuff. All right, so that was a simple way to do it as well. Whatever way you do, you get her done. Okay, now let's click back to our browser. Get rid of this stinky old thing. And now it wants us to go ahead and do this file. Now, we're going to put it in the models text encoders file. So if we go back to our File Explorer, same thing. We're going to go into our ComfyUI. we're going to look at models, and you're going to see there's a folder called text encoders. Okay, if it's not there, create it, but it'll be there. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to clone into here. Well, let's go back and look at our directions again, though, really fast. So the directions it has is it's telling us to cd into that folder. So, and then it's saying if you're able to get in there, then git clone the repository. Now notice by having a cd models text encoders, it's assuming that we're not in the text encoders file. So according to it, where we would not, we wouldn't be here, because if we tried to cd into text encoders and we're there, it would be like there is no folder. It's assuming that we're, it's assuming that we're starting here. Okay? Because then it's going to say, if you look at it there, it says cd models text encoders. So we would click over here and you would see that there's your models folder and there's your text encoders. Okay, so it's not to be confused. I don't know why they did it like this, but the bottom line is it doesn't really matter where you start from, but you have to understand this sentence. Okay, so how this sentence works is this. It's saying, it's using these double ampersands. And when there is a double ampersand in a command in your Windows terminal, it's saying that if the thing on the left succeeds, then do this. But if it doesn't succeed, then don't do this. So if you run this part and you're not in the correct folder, it's going to say, I can't find the folder. So then it's not going to do this. Okay? So you don't have to have this. One thing you could do is just copy this part, the git clone. Okay? Then we could go back over, let's go back to our desktop view here. Then we could go back to our File Explorer, just already get into text encoders. We could right click, go open terminal, and we could just paste it in there. Okay, and it's going to git clone that directory. Okay, the other way, if you want to follow it the way that the directions are going, okay, is you would copy the whole thing. Then we would go out to our ComfyUI folder, making sure, see, we're going to go into models. Then from here, same thing, we'd right click, go open terminal. Then we can paste the whole thing in there. It's going to move us into the directory and do the same thing. So they both do the same. Let's go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and clone it. Okay. If you notice, we'll go into the models, text encoders. Notice there's a directory here now. This takes a long time to install. Okay. This is a 40 gigabyte download, and it's going to take you some time to get it. Okay, I'm telling you, the application's worth it. Okay, once you get it, but it takes some time. So in the meanwhile, what we're going to do is we're going to go set up our workflows. Okay, so how ComfyUI works is it works through these things called workflows. It moves from one thing to the next. Think of like those old phone things. You got the operators there plugging stuff from one here to there to this and that. It's the same way. Things flow, they flow in from the left and they go out from the right. So you can see this is going out and then to the end of these two things. These two things are flowing into here. Now this is kind of fulfilling to learn, but it's not necessary to learn it. The main things that you need to understand with this stuff is that you have some boxes that set your width and your height. Okay, you have some things that set your models, what models you're using here. Okay, something that set your seeds, your steps, config. So you learn the basics, you can get it. But what we need to do for LTX is we need to actually load the model. We need to use a workflow that will allow us to create videos. When you first install it, this is what you'll have. This is a basic image generator thing. So you put models in here, you can put your flags, whatever you want in here. Okay, and it's just going to create images. So what we need to do is get the workflow. So let's go back over to our ComfyUI install over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to notice that we've got three workflows. Text to video, image to video, and video to video. So you can see here this one starts with text, creates the balloons. This one puts the balloons in there and it creates more balloons. Okay? Or it creates a still image of the balloons and it makes a video. Then that video can get thrown in here and it can make it even longer. So generally video to video is a way of extending. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and click on this download workflow. Now, the problem I have with clicking the download workflow is it doesn't, so actually there's no problem. So it's going to bring us to here. So LTX video to TV JSON. Actually, let's make sure we grab the right one here. I'm going to go back and we want to click text to video. Make sure it's the right one. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of messing right here. Okay, let's click download workflow. Okay, there we go. Text T to V. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all of this. Just highlight it all. And we're going to copy it. Okay. The reason we're copying this by hand is that I tried downloading this and it caused some issue. So then we're going to go over to our file explorer where we were. Okay. Let's get out. This is all downloading. Let's get back to our Comfy install. Maybe we're here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go new and then folder. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to just call it workflows. Okay. I'm going to hit in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and click new text document and we're going to call this LTX. I'm going to put -T to V. And then we got to press .json, okay? And you want to delete this .text, okay? This is a JSON file. A JSON file is a way of organizing data. Okay, it's going to say, you sure you want to change it? Yes. Now, if you can't see the extension, if when you create a folder you don't see the .txt, it's very important. You need to go up here. Let me go back to this. It's very important that you click on View, go down to Show, and you'll see here, file name extensions. Watch what happens when I unclick this. Notice it goes away. If I change the name now to a dot, whatever, it's not going to change the file extension. So you've got to go down to Show, File Name Extensions. Then when you do something like this, new text document, you can delete the .txt. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this and I'm going to go open with Notepad. Okay. I'm just going to press Control V and it's going to put all of that JSON. See, it's just all ways of structuring data. Okay. I'm going to hit Control S to save it or hit File and Save. Then I can close that out. Now I have my text to video. So let's go back over here. Let's get the next one. Let's go to image to video. So click download workflow. Same thing. I'm just going to copy all of that. Okay. We'll copy it. We'll go back to here. Now I've got a text document here, and you see I can see the .txt, so that's good. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go rename, and we'll call this LTX-I to V.json, and then I'm going to delete the text. Okay, there we go. So you sure want to change it? Yerp. I'm going to right click on that bad boy, edit with Notepad. Same thing. I'm going to paste that in there. File, save. Okay, close that out. Now let's go back and get our last one. We click over to here. There's our video to video. Download workflow. Yo. Okay. Copy all that. Yerp. All right. Squirby doop. Grab that. Now we'll head back over to here. I'm going to right click, new text document. I'm going to just hit Control A, and that's going to highlight all of it. And this time we're going to go LTX.v2v.json. All right. Yes, I want to change it. Yo. Okay, right click this bad boy, edit Notepad, Control V, File Save, or Control S, and then we're done. We now have our workflows. Okay, so moving back to our Comfy workflow, we're going to go over here, and we can hide this if we want, but basically they've changed stuff up, so we're going to click Workflow, and we're going to click Open. Okay, then what we do is we go into wherever we save these. Maybe if you're running SwarmUI, you could put them at the top of your SwarmUI thing. But if you're running the Comfy, the only thing you have is your Comfy folder. So there's our workflows. We're going to click there. Now if I click image to video, or let's go text to video, it's going to load up. Now, this isn't installed on the thing, so in here just yet. So it's going to show up red. Yours won't show up red if you've done everything correctly. So actually, let's switch it over to one that is installed here. Give me just one moment. Okay, so over here, notice we have it loaded up the same way. Click Workflow, Open, and then we just grab our text to video, and it pops up in the workflow here. Now, the main things you got to concern yourself with, you don't really have to change anything. The checkpoint name's the same. If for some reason this throws an error, just click it over, and there'll be another one in the list. But here's your widths and your heights, so you can actually throw these down to lower numbers. Again, I've already explained to you how the frame numbers and frame rates work. And then you go ahead and put in your text, and then hit Control Enter or the Q button, and then you get your video. Okay, same thing. If we want to open the workflow for image to image, we click Workflows, Image, and then we're going to grab Image to Video. Okay, let's go ahead and grab this image here of Taylor Swift kissing a Ninja Turtle. And what we're going to do is go up here, and let's write in here, Taylor Swift is standing on the right and to the side of a Ninja Turtle and embracing a passionate kiss. The Ninja Turtle runs his right hand across her chest as her left hand gently touches his face. All right, so now what I've done here is I've changed the width and the height. Okay, I want the width a little bit better than the height, whatever. And notice I've upped the frame numbers all the way to the top. What I've discovered is that the image to text does not always work great, so when I pump the numbers up, it actually works pretty good. And then we just keep the frame numbers at the same thing. So what do we got there? We've got like an 11-second video, okay? We're just putting 25 into that. Okay, going ahead and do the steps. Now, I've gone ahead and already generated this. To tell you the truth, it took, again, 30 seconds, and then here's the video we get. So let's open that up in a preview. That's actually pretty impressive, okay? That's not bad at all. I'm actually really impressed. So obviously, the higher the quality of video you start with, the better, and then the more frames, the more movement you're going to have. That's probably why sometimes if you do it with lower stuff, you're not going to get so much movement because it doesn't have so much to play with. Okay, and this is a flex model, which means that it's a high quality image. So very cool. Okay, so now if we want to just move on though to the next one, we can again click on workflow. We'll just click open. Okay, and same thing. We're just going here. Let's get the image there so you can see the desktop. Same thing. And then scroll to where our workflows are, and same thing. This time we grab vid to vid. So same thing, you just got some more stuff. You'll go over here and you'll load your video. Select video to upload. So you can see I was playing with somebody roller skating over here. Didn't work out the greatest, but whatever, it's fine. So it's the same idea. And then same thing, you're going to grab a prompt. If you want help, you go to your chat GPT and it can help you get a prompt. Again, you go over here, you can get your guides. Okay, on how to create stuff. Okay, one thing I've really discovered is going up here and looking. You can actually recreate these pretty faithfully. Is just taking what they've already written and copying it. So notice the way they did it. One with short brown hair, wearing a maroon sleeveless top, silver necklace, walks through a room while talking. Then notice using words like then. I don't know what those are called, but the first one walks from left to right. And the scene is captured in real life footage. Okay, so again, this is showing you how to do it, and I will tell you that this does not always work if it's not prompted well. The prompting really matters. Let's see. Let's go here. Rewrite this using different characters wearing different clothes, but keep the flow and structure. Only change the details. And then let's put it in there and let's see what ChatGPT has to say. We'll do one more video generation here and then we'll call it good. And of course ChatGPT is being a turd. There we go. didn't like me calling it names, so let's go ahead and copy it. Let's go back over to our image generation, making sure we can see. And again, I'm going to go workflow, open. Let's just do our text to video. Throw this in here. It's always a little bit dangerous doing this when I have my video going. But let's just do it. Model's already loaded. Should go here. It's going fast. Now, I will tell you, sometimes this crashes, and if you're sitting there and it spins for a long time, you got to close it down and open it up. That's something that I've seen happen quite often. Another thing that can help is in between stuff, you can click Manager and unload models. But here we go. Look, it went ahead and created a video here of this guy walking in. That's pretty cool. Now, obviously, it kind of screwed up the door and everything. But again, that happens so fast that you can play with this. So, there you have it. Whoops. You can get it over here on the Patreon site. Just go to my page. You just go to CogniBuild, and then you go to Collections, Member Exclusive Software. And you can grab the install scripts here, just straight into ComfyUI, your VideoGenPack, or you can follow the process that we just did. And when you do get these, by the way, they come with the workflows in there. Otherwise, just go over here and follow the manual directions that we did. All right, so there you have it, LTX. Very cool software, very fast software. I'm highly impressed. We're going to be looking at another one here. What's it called? I think it's called SARN or something like that. And it is also, yeah, it's called Sauna. Okay, and we're going to be looking at that here in just a little bit. And that's really fast image generation. So it makes me wonder if we've crossed some kind, we've reached some kind of milestone here where image generation is going to start becoming like this, that. So exciting times. If you have any questions, hit me up. You can get me on the Discord. I'm over there. Come chat with me if you want. Hit me up here on YouTube. I'm happy to help you. And as always, you know, your support helps because this is what I'm trying to do full time here. And so the more time I get to spend doing this, the more I can help you to reach your goals as well. So, all right, we're going to thank you with that, and we're going to just leave you with a big yo.